Good evening. My name is Nishant Paruri, and today we are going to talk about genetics-based agricultural insect and pest management strategies. As far as we can think back for humanity, humans have been farming for generations. And as the population has been growing significantly, there, there's more need for new farming or agricultural techniques. And and we have been using insecticides for that. One of the biggest proponents for a low throughput agricultural product is insects or pests. And insecticides and pesticides, when they first came out, were significant. They were amazing. They worked really well, preventing these pests from coming in. But however, within a couple of generations, they were able to develop that resistance. They didn't really care that you sprayed that your farm with pesticides or insecticides. So people have started using a lot stronger insecticides and pesticides. And then great thing about nature is that it is adaptable and it's stable. So a lot of these pests and insects have also adapted for these stronger pesticides. So what should farmers do? Keep increasing it, or are there better ways? So in the 1930s and 40s, there was a scientist that postulated that what if we captured and made these insects or pests sterile? At the time, we didn't have that technology, but as we've evolved, as the scientific knowledge and literature has evolved, people were able to irradiate these pests, neutralizing them, making them sterile, and releasing them out into the wild. When they mate, they have the potential to generate unviable offsprings. But there wasn't a good way to control that. But with the advent of genetics-based agricultural techniques, we are able to do that a lot better. So one of the common ways is to produce insects that are homozygous lethal dominant that would go and mate with the wild types and release or produce offsprings that are unviable. But there's also a lot better control. There has been these things called RNAi, which have been able to molecularly turn off certain phenotypes or certain characteristics. Specifically, it is to control the sensitivity to certain pesticides. So this uses a multi-pronged approach. Basically, you still use the pesticide, but also release insects or pests that are sensitive. So that way you maintain that sensitivity and the wild types don't evolve out of that. But another problem is that with RNAi is that the delivery mechanism, it's hard to deliver these to the wild types. Sometimes they might not consume them. But there's also ways. But another thing is that you can engineer these insects and then release them out. But another thing is that they have to be competitive enough with the wild type to be able to fight them. If they're weak in any way, they might not be able to find a mate and be able to not be able to produce those offsprings. So there's a lot of techniques, a lot of fine control that can enable farmers to be a lot more efficient and have throughputs. But we also want to make sure that we also want to be mindful about the environment and environmental impacts. So in my opinion, nature always evolves. It's an unstoppable force. And when we change these genes to become sensitive to certain pesticides, nature has a way to potentially increase its ability for something else. So would that potentially cause something a lot stronger or something more resistant? Or maybe what are the impacts of to the environment? Or if you completely eradicate a certain pesticide, but within a couple of generations, couple of years, is there something else that will take over and then cause that pain? How would it affect the food chain in the local area that are, how is it going to affect other animals that are endemic to that area? So I believe that we still have to study a lot of this, and we should test in a very small and controlled environment for generations. And then once we do realize that it is safe and it doesn't have significant impact, because there will be impact, but we just got to make sure it's not significant to the environment, then release it out into to a lot more places.